Ever look at those couples who've, clearly weathered decades together and still seem genuinely connected? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the secret sauce? How do some relationships really flourish long term while others just fizzle out?
The huge question, one so many of us think about. And today we're diving into some really interesting ideas on this. We're looking at the work of Dr. Evans Duah.
Right.
He's identified what he sees as 6 key stages in, like the life cycle of a romantic relationship.
Okay, because we all want that lasting connection, that partnership. But like Dr. Duah suggests, getting there isn't just about holding on to that first spark, is it?
Not at all. It involves actively, navigating a series of phases. And each one brings its own challenges, needs its own kind of growth.
And that's a crucial point he makes, right? That relationships often don't end just because the love disappears.
Exactly. More often, he argues, couples get kind of stuck in one stage, unable to make the shifts needed to move forward together.
Okay, so think of this as getting a better map for the territory of love. We're going to chart out these 6 stages, look at what defines them,
and maybe most importantly, what each stage asks of us, as individuals and partners, to keep things alive and moving forward.
Sounds good. Let's jump in then. Stage 1, infatuation. Usually the first, 0 to 3 walks?
Yeah, that's the typical time frame he gives. And this phase, it feels almost magical, doesn't it? It's marked by this really intense attraction, constant excitement.
Oh, yeah.
And this overwhelming desire for constant contact.
Yeah.
You feel this real longing when you're apart.
Totally. Your phone is basically an extension of your hand, and everything they do seems utterly charming. There's massive idealization happening. You're seeing them through, let's be honest, rose-tinted glasses,
Yeah.
maybe not even noticing things that might become issues later.
Right. It's a powerful feeling, almost like a drug sometimes. The key takeaway here, as Dr. Duah points out, is enjoy it, but also recognize it's not really a solid foundation yet. It's more potential.
Good point. Enjoy the buzz, but maybe keep one foot slightly grounded.
Exactly. And that leads us into stage 2, the romance phase. This is usually around 3 to 6 months in.
Okay, so the intensity maybe shifts a bit.
It does. That initial frantic butterfly feeling starts to evolve. It deepens into more genuine bonding.
Right, so maybe fewer frantic texts, but more comfort, connection.
Precisely. Dr. Duah highlights a deepening emotional connection. There's usually more affection, physically and emotionally. And you start building shared experiences, creating a little history together.
Okay. This is often where people say they feel truly in love, isn't it? Not just infatuated.
Yes. The focus kind of shifts from just that raw attraction to appreciating the person more deeply, their thoughts, their values.
So the initial chemistry gets things started.
But it's this growing connection, the shared moments, the understanding that really starts to sustain it. That's the glue.
Makes sense. But, reality always bites eventually, right?
Well, yes. As you spend more time together and that initial sheen wears off, you hit a really critical point. Stage 3, the reality check. Usually somewhere between 6 and 12 months.
Okay.
Dr. Duah has this great phrase for it. Love now has a mirror.
Ooh, love now has a mirror. Okay, unpack that. What are we seeing in this mirror? Is it flattering?
Not always. This is where those idealized images start to crack a little. The little quirks that seemed cute before.
Yeah.
Maybe they start to grate just a tiny bit now. You begin to see actual flaws, habits that maybe aren't your favorite, fundamental differences in how you see the world or handle things.
Like leaving socks on the floor or, bigger stuff, like how you argue.
Exactly, big and small. These differences suddenly feel more present, and naturally, disagreements tend to pop up more often.
Yeah.
Dr. Duah points out that this is a major test of your communication skills.
Right. How do you handle those disagreements? Can you actually listen? Can you find middle ground? It sounds like this is where love shifts from just a feeling to a conscious choice.
That's precisely it. You're choosing to navigate these bumps together.
It feels like a real make or break stage then, if you can't figure out how to talk and compromise.
Those cracks can definitely widen, yeah. But if you can grow through it, learn to communicate better, accept the imperfections, well, that paves the way for something much deeper.
So the discomfort isn't necessarily bad. It's actually an opportunity for strengthening the bond if you handle it right.
Exactly. It tests the relationship's resilience. And if you pass that test, you move into stage 4, intimacy and trust. This generally spans from, say, year 1 to year 2.
Okay.
And this is where that work in the reality check stage really pays off. or it doesn't. You're either building something solid or you might start drifting apart.
So assuming you're building, what does that look like? What changes?
Well, Dr. Duah emphasizes a big increase in emotional vulnerability. You start sharing the deeper stuff, fears, insecurities, things you might have held back before.
Because you trust them not to bolt, presumably.
Right. There's a deeper understanding and, crucially, acceptance of each other, flaws included. And this is often when you start having more serious talks about shared values, life goals. Are we actually heading in the same direction?
Does this life together really work for both of us?
Yeah. Security and trust start to replace that earlier uncertainty. And the key point here is that real intimacy, according to Duah, is built on that foundation of safety, not just the initial excitement.
That makes a lot of sense. Safety allows for vulnerability, which builds intimacy. Okay, so you've built that trust. What's next? Stage 5.
Stage 5, commitment. And Dr. Duah suggests this phase can last quite a while, maybe 1 to 5 years, sometimes longer, depending on the couple.
And the focus shifts again here.
It does. It becomes less about just the romantic feelings, although hopefully those are still there, and more about the shared life you're actively building.
Okay, so like the practical stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Long-term decisions, maybe finances, living situations, career paths, possibly family planning. You're managing life as a unit.
Sharing the load, dealing with challenges together. Like a team.
Absolutely. You're facing life's ups and downs, the different seasons, as Duah calls them, together. And the love often feels, deeply rooted by this point. Stable, reliable.
And I imagine this is where Dr. Duah's point about love being a daily choice really comes into play. It's not just coasting on feelings.
100%. It's an active, conscious decision every day to choose your partner, to prioritize the relationship, to work through things, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. That intentionality is vital.
Okay, so if you maintain that commitment, that intentionality,
Yeah.
what's the final stage?
Stage 6, growth and evolution. This covers relationships that have gone the distance, say, 5 years plus.
Growth and evolution. So it's not just about staying together anymore.
Right. The focus evolves. It's about actively growing together. This means supporting each other's individual growth, continuing your own personal development.
So you're not just growing as a couple, but also supporting each other as individuals within the couple.
Exactly. And it's about navigating the big life changes together. Careers shifting, kids growing up, maybe health issues, aging parents, all that complex stuff life throws at you over decades.
That requires real adaptability.
Huge adaptability. And Duah talks about needing to kind of reinvent love through different seasons. What connected you deeply at year 5 might be different from what connects you at year 25.
Reinventing love. Can you say more about that? What does that actually look like?
It means consciously checking in, understanding what your partner needs now, what you need now, maybe your shared hobbies change, or how you show affection evolves, or the kinds of conversations you need to have are different. It's about staying attuned and adapting.
So it's not static.
Not at all. This is where you often find that deep, quiet companionship and peace, but requires ongoing effort. Great relationships, the ones that really last and stay vibrant, are dynamic. They evolve. They don't just sit there.
Wow. Okay, so we've walked through all 6 stages. Infatuation, romance, reality check, intimacy and trust, commitment, and growth and evolution. What's the big picture takeaway here for listeners?
Well, I think Dr. Duah's main point is really powerful. It's not about finding some mythical, perfect relationship that doesn't exist.
Right.
What's absolutely essential is that both people are willing to actually do the work and grow through each of these stages. It takes 2.
A shared commitment to evolving, basically, not just digging your heels in when things get tough.
Precisely. And he offers some encouragement, too. Don't necessarily give up when things get hard, especially in those tricky middle stages.
Like the reality check.
Exactly. Those challenging times are often crucial turning points. Working through the difficulties, not running from them, is often how you forge that really deep, lasting connection.
That's helpful, actually. So as you're listening, maybe take a second to think about your own relationships, past or present. Where do they fall on this map?
Yeah, and what are the demands of that stage asking of you right now? What kind of effort might be needed to keep growing, keep connecting?
It's a really useful framework for understanding the journey.
It really is. A roadmap, like we said at the start.
Absolutely. So again, those stages were infatuation, romance, reality check, intimacy and trust, commitment, and growth and evolution.
Thanks for exploring these ideas with us today.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. We hope this deep dive gives you some valuable perspective to think about in your own life and relationships.